Good morning, everyone. We are in the module of Introduction to Business Studies, and you know that you are the foundation students for the Oxford Business College. And the topic for today is sources of finance. My name is Mohammed Tabassum. So we are going to discuss today different sources of finance that are available to the businesses and what are their different details we have to discuss one by one. Let's start with our topic. Thank you. So guys, out of the sources of finance, when we want to explain the different sources that are available for financing a business, the first question comes in our mind that why actually we need the finance. So any business actually needs the finance for three possible reasons. One, that you are going to start a new business and therefore you need the money for funding different kind of business activities, and this is what we call for the startups the finances are required. So what sources you will look into when you are going to start up your business. The second is to sustain an existing business, that you have the business and you want to sustain it due to certain financial reasons, that you are short of the finance, and that's why you need finance and you are looking for different sources that are available to you for the short term and long term. And similarly, the last but not the least, the expansion of the business. To expand your business, you need the finance, and this will be also one reason that the businesses need the finance. So why we need the finance? There are three possible reasons. Now we have to look into the sources of finance in the next slide. So here we are talking about an overview of the sources of finance that a business can look into, can think of that, okay, these are the possible sources available to a business. So if we want to create an overview of the sources of finance, there are two major types of finances available. One are called internal sources of finance and other are called external sources of finance. When we speak of the internal sources, that clearly says that it is the source that is available from within the business, that you have to look inside where you can get the money from. Look into your pocket, look into your assets, look into different things that you have got. So it means that the internal sources of finance are those finances that are generated from within the business. But the external sources of finance are those that are actually expected or generated from outside the business. Different sources are available outside the business also that can actually create finances or make the finances available for the business. So we'll talk about in this slide an overview. We'll try to detail some of the things here, especially for the internal ones, so that in the external ones we can go into the next slides also and explain few external sources of finance. Internal sources of finance, we usually, when we talk about, we look into that, okay, what is available within the business for us. And the first thing that we look in, that is our own savings. So in other words, when you are owning the business, you have certain savings, and so you can just plug in those savings into the business. So that's called owner's savings. So using your own savings for the business purpose, this is the first and the foremost internal source of finance. Whenever you are short of finances, first thing you look into your own wallet, that what you have got, so that you can put into and meet the needs of the finance for the business. The second thing that the businesses look into in the internal sources of finance are retained profits. Retained profits means those profits that have not been distributed among the shareholders and that have not been utilized by the owners of the business. Rather, they have been retained for future investment. So this is now time when you can look into those and use those finances that are already put away somewhere for as retained profit. So they were your profits. They could be distributed, but you did not distribute with the aim to utilize them in the business. So that's what retained profit is. Similarly, the reducing of the level of stocks. Businesses always have certain stocks, and they use those stocks for the purpose of meeting their different business needs. But here they are needing actually the finances. So instead of keeping the stocks in the go down, they get rid of that stock by selling it and immediately arranging the finances. So this is called reducing the levels of stock. Similarly, sales of existing assets. The businesses build up assets over the time. So they have different assets. They have their buildings, they have their furnitures, they have different other machinery, equipment and tools. They have the vehicles, they have different transportation facilities. They are all their assets if they have purchased them for themselves. So when they are available for financing their business activity, they can utilize those assets also by selling them, arranging the finance and using it for the business activity. So this will also become the reason for or the source for financing internally. And the last but not the least is the shareholders. So you can expand the shareholders, you can ask the shareholders to arrange more money from within. So that means that you are actually from within the business, you are trying to generate finances. So these are different sources actually internally available for the business to arrange finances for any business activity, for sustaining the business, for expanding the business. From within the business, you are creating some sources and you are utilizing certain resources. That's called internal sources. I hope that you have got an overview of internal sources of finance. External sources are the sources, as we have mentioned already, those sources that are available from outside the business. Obviously, you first look inside for the finances if they are available for meeting your requirement, but if they are not sufficiently available, then you look outside. And outside word is obviously asking for the cost of money. When they will be giving you the money, they will be looking for some return for that. So different possible sources can be there, but it depends that what type of fund you need. You need for the short term, you need for the medium term, you need it for the long term. When you say short term needs, that means you may be needing for 1 or 2 months. But if you are asking for money for the medium term, that means within 1 year you are able to return it. 12 months, less than 12 months, that means some medium-term loans or medium-term finances that you are looking for. And the long-term finances are those that are actually for longer period, for more than 1 year, for 2 years, for 5 years, for 10 years. Long-term loans, long-term finances you are also looking for. It depends that what kind of business need you are trying to fulfill. So you will look at the external sources also, but the external sources are subcategorized into short-term, medium-term and long-term finances. So we'll look into the external sources of finance with a bit of more details because there are certain technical terms like overdraft, short-term loans, trade credit, debt factoring, similarly the bank loans, leasing, hire purchase and long-term loans, venture capital, government assistance or grants and crowdfunding. So these are different very technical terms that are actually involved in the sources of finance when we talk about the external sources of finance. We'll look into them one by one, but not all of them. Few of them we'll pick up. Like few things are simple, so we'll just look at in each short term, long, medium term, and long term at least 2 to 3 terms that we can explain in this today's lesson. Yes, one of the external sources of finance for the business is called trade credit. So this is external, but this is a short-term kind of arrangement that a business can create and make for the purpose of fulfilling its different short-term financial needs. So this is called trade credit. Trade credit is like a credit card for a business. that in the credit card you have got the money and you can use it for the purpose of financing your any short-term requirement of the business. As in your pocket as an individual, for example, you have the credit card, but the credit card allows you certain limit to finance your household needs. So you can use them, but within certain time you have to pay it back. So the same is about the trade credit for a business. So it's just like a credit card where you are buying something with, and then definitely you can buy now, but you have to pay later within a certain time. Mostly the time period for the repayment of such bills that the businesses utilize, that is from 30 to 45 days. So it means that trade credit is a kind of credit available to the business to purchase certain items, certain goods, because you have actually established your credit in the market and your suppliers are ready to sell you, ready to give you the commodities and goods what you need, but only for the short term. So within 1 month or within 45 days, you have to pay the bills. So at least some kind of loan, some kind of fund, some kind of finance is available for you to keep your business running. So this is what's called trade credit. Hi, it means that you are still with me and you are understanding the different sources of finance that the businesses have got. So another source of finance for the businesses is overdraft. That means a facility that the banks give you for using the money when you are short of money, when you don't have the money in your current account and you need some finance to finance your business activity, to fund your business activity. So some kind of limited amount available to you from the bank side, and you can just go to your bank's machine and get the money to finance your activity and then pay it after a certain time, but obviously you have to pay the interest on it. So this is a kind of facility provided by a bank when the balance of your current account goes into negative figures. So it is for an agreed amount and an agreed period of time. And if this is exceeded, the cost to use these funds will be much higher. So it has different actually varieties and different kinds available. Some are those overdrafts that are agreed overdrafts. Some are not agreed overdrafts, but overdrafts are available. So there are two things. One, that you have to be careful about that, whether the bank has given you the facility of overdraft, and if they have given you, what type of facility it has been given, so that you do not incur a higher cost of financing your business activity. So you have to be careful about that. But the important thing is that this is one source for the short term available for you to use for your business activity. So in investigating the sources of finance in the short term financing of your activities of the business, you have trade credit, you have overdraft facilities with the banks that are available to you. So hope you understand that in the short term you have got certain facilities available that you can utilize for financing your business. Two of them we have discussed here. One is trade credit and other is overdraft. Yes, guys, we have now to look at the medium term financing facilities from the external sources. So as we look into the medium term facilities available from outside of the business for financing different activities, one of the sources in the medium term is leasing. Leasing is simply that, the word says, that it is the businesses renting different items instead of paying for the whole of the price of the items. Like you are using different machineries, you are using different equipments for your business purposes instead of buying them, because buying them will be a huge cost for the business. So instead of bearing the whole cost that you cannot definitely afford at this time, so you will go for the leasing of the machinery and equipment. What you will do, you will buy that one in leasing terms, that means you will be paying the amount as rent for that use of that machinery and equipment and those tools that are required for your business. Like a building, you are leasing, you need a bigger building for your business activity and you don't have the money, so you will just go for the leasing of that building. That means you are not buying that building, rather you are just paying installments or payments of a monthly basis as kind of rent, but the the building will not be yours, rather the building will still be of the leaser who has actually given you that particular building. Similarly, for the machineries and equipments, the go downs, the stock houses where you want to put your inventories, so these type of places, these type of things, these type of machineries and equipments, tools, if you need and you don't have the money to buy them whole, what you arrange, you just arrange the leasing for the purpose of financing your business activity. So this is when a business rents an item instead of paying for it all at once. This way the business saves money because it makes a monthly payment. Businesses often lease cars or machinery, but they never get to own them. However, they do get free upgrades and maintenance, so the business's cash flow may be more predictable. Yes, when somebody is leasing you the thing, the leaser who is giving you that item or that particular asset, they have the responsibility to maintain it. Like that you are renting a building, so the building owners have the responsibility to maintain and furnish the building for you, because you are paying rent for that, you are paying lease for that. So this is a kind of arrangement where you are not paying the full amount of that or full price of that product that you are using for your business purpose, but that is sufficiently covering the purpose of the business. Yes, another source of financing business activity is called hire purchase. So hire purchase is a form of installment credit. Hire purchase is similar to the leasing, with the exception that the ownership of the goods passes to the hire purchase customer on the payment of the final credit installment, whereas a leasee never becomes the owner of the good. In the previous example of source of finance, that is external and short medium term, that was leasing. In the leasing, you do not become the owner of the commodity or the asset that you have been renting for, but here for the hire purchase you actually have three parties involved. One, you as a leasee; other, the person who is leasing the thing, leaser; the third party is finance house. So there are three parties involved in the hire purchase. The finance house, basically the supplier of goods, is selling the commodity to the finance house, and from the finance house, basically this you are purchasing or you are getting it, but on the installments. So seller is selling the commodity to you, but through the finance house. Finance house pays the full amount to the supplier of the goods, but you are paying to the finance house as installments. But as you have given the final installment, you are the owner of the commodity. In 2 years, 3 years time, when you have finished your installments of payments, that means now this commodity, this asset, this machinery, this equipment has become yours. It is like that you are buying for the household a refrigerator. So you are buying a refrigerator from one place, but you are actually paying in installments. So third party who is financing this whole exchange of good actually is paid in installments, and when the final installment is paid, you are free now to keep your commodity. In the similar way, the businesses use the hire purchase, and this is one of the ways of financing your business activity for the short term, that for example, for 9 to 12 months you are paying the installments for that machinery, that equipment, that computer that you are using in your business. So you are paying the installments. As the final installment goes, you are free to use. Now it is you who is the owner of this asset. So this is what called hire purchase. Yeah, another source of finance for the businesses may be the government assistance or the grants. This usually come rarely, but the governments are vigilant of the business problems and business issues that are prevailing. So they look into the business situations, and sometimes, as a matter of policy, they provide assistance to the businesses to upgrade their technologies, to actually cover the unemployment issues, to resolve the issues of unemployment, and to facilitate the employment uh, for the people in the local community. They provide grants and assistance to the businesses. For example, nowadays we are facing the COVID-19 issue, and the businesses are now locked down. The government knows that the people will be getting unemployed, so they have actually announced a huge package for funding these employments, and also the businesses have been given different kind of grants just to sustain the businesses after the crisis is over. The businesses do not have a lot of issues because of this government assistance. So this government assistance also becomes a source of finance for the businesses. Yeah, another source of finance, long-term funding that is available for the businesses is called venture capital. Venture capital is a type of private equity, a form of financing that is provided to small startup businesses that are considered to demonstrate high growth potential. We have the different examples of venture capitalists that are available in the market, like some people might have seen that Dragon's Den, where the different capitalists sit together and look into your business plan, look into your prospects of the business and profit prospects, and then invest into your business. So if you are a starter and you have a good plan and you have good potential of the business, because this is your idea, your mind child. So when you bring it together forward to these capitalists, they will be ready to invest into your business, into your activity for the purpose of financing your business. So this is also one of the uh, sources of financing the businesses. Venture capital funds invest in different companies who are early stage companies in exchange of the equity that they actually get, the shareholding of the business, where they are getting the and looking into good prospects of growth. Yes, guys, when we are looking at the external sources of funding and financing for the businesses, there come another very important source that is called crowdfunding. As the picture is showing, that you are having a kind of business where there are prospects, you have got the idea, and but you don't have the money, so you are, instead of asking for certain capitalists to invest because they look for a huge share in your business, you actually invite general public to fund your business. So this is the practice of funding a project or venture by raising money from a large number of people. So that's why we call crowdfunding, because the crowd is coming to fund your money, and you actually give them relatively small share of profits or shareholding of your business. So they do not have a direct influence on your business, but they have the shareholding of the business in a certain percentage as a part of equity of the business. But this is usually done through the stock exchanges of the country. So this particular long-term financing is also available, but this is a kind of technical way of arranging money from the public, because public will not straight away come to you to give the money, even the single pound or single dollar, because they don't know you, so they need guarantee, and they usually come through the stock exchange. So this is actually the capital market funding available to you in the long term, but that's obviously having some technicalities that you have to fulfill and complete to get the public's finance into your business. Anyways, crowdfunding is also one of the sources of funding your business. So after having a overall picture of the different sources of finance for the businesses available, we can just look into that what factors will influence the choice of finance, that which source you will choose. It is completely depending on different reasons, different factors. One is that the length of the time. So it will determine whether you will go for the overdraft, you will go for the leasing, you will go for the crowdfunding, or you will go for the venture capital. It all depends that what type of need is that, what type of loan, what type of fund you need from the external sources. If it is just day-to-day basis, you will ask for family and friend maybe, or you will be looking for your own internal sources of finance. But if it is for the short term, medium term and long term basis, and you don't have your internal sources, then you will definitely go for different sources as the need is. Cost of borrowing, you have to also look at that, what will be the interest rate or the fees that you have to pay for to arrange those finances from the external sources. As we said in the beginning, when you look for the external sources of finance, definitely this is incurring the cost of borrowing. So cost of borrowing you have to look into. Terms and conditions of the contract, what type of terms and conditions are offered. For example, a venture capitalist is coming with the funds to invest into your business, but he or she is asking for the lion's share into your business, then definitely it will be difficult for you. If they are asking for a huge share in the profits or in the business, then you will definitely be shy of this type of arrangement of finance. Flexibility of finances. So how the finances will be available, how flexibly they are available. Are they available, are these finances sticky enough that when you need them they are not available, or they are flexible, whenever you need they will be available to you. So it is all different factors, a part of the factors that are that can influence the amount of money required, and also the relationship with the lender. So these are different factors that can influence the choice of finance, whether you will go for short-term funding, medium-term funding, or long-term funding, and what will be the interest you have to pay, what will be the conditions and terms and conditions of the finance, and similarly flexibility and amount of money required, and also what type of relationship you will have with your lender. So these are the different factors that can influence your decision of choosing one of the sources of finance. Yes, dear students, thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope you understand the whole topic of sources of finance. There's a small task for you. Whenever you have got some time, please complete this task, and this will be helping you understanding more about the topic of sources of finance. So task is simply, how would you borrow during the COVID-19 situation? Two questions you have to answer. What are the prospects of borrowing for small and medium-sized businesses during COVID-19? What shall be the impact on UK businesses of recent decrease in interest rate in the context of COVID-19? So these are the two questions that you have to complete in your spare time and get back to me through email and answer these questions. Thank you very much, guys, for listening, and hope you will enjoy this lesson. And for further reading on this topic, you can click on this link. This is an interesting link and a good reading for you to have a better understanding, further understanding of the topic. Thank you very much. Thanks again. Goodbye.